everyone. It's Ari Honeyford with the Awkwardly Zen podcast, and I am so excited today to have my friend and Awkwardly Zen partner, Lisa Eleni, here. Hi, Lisa. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi.
Uh,
Yes, thank you so
so,
much.
Lisa and I met years and years ago at a metaphysical shop here, and I got a tree reading from her. So, Lisa, can you tell everybody just a brief overview of what it is that you do with your readings? And then I also want to talk about the fact that you are a amazingly successful and wonderful author.
Oh, fun. Tree readings for me are a way of having an interactive connection with people. So I have them draw me a tree, and then that's how I tune in and we set an intention and I kind of focus on a mind, body, spirit balance and have them, I needed a tool to help me show you what I see. So that way when it comes up, then we can edit the tree and then you take home the tree as a reminder of you, in that state of bliss, no, or
Yeah.
understanding or whatever it is that you needed, that clarity. Sometimes a lot of things come up and the tree is just kind of a way to make it interactive and also make it so that it's your own, like you understand it's coming to you for you. And hopefully it's a message of encouragement or whatever it is you need.
Yeah, what's interesting is when I sat down to draw my tree, one, let me just say this right off the bat. You do not have to be an artist. Like Lisa is very good at tapping in no matter what you put out there. So I think that that's so beautiful. But when I sat down to do my tree, I was surprised at what I was drawn to do. It's like my guides and my team was using me to help give you the message. And then for you to be able to go into that and say, hey, you need to add flowers over here to call in more. I think at that point it was more friends in my life to be there with me and support me. And it was so beautiful how you could help me adjust that.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, that's the aim. Usually when you want a reading, there's some way of encouragement or some clarity or just a new way of looking at something that you're going through, and maybe you don't necessarily realize that it's so prevalent in your life. That it's kind of just swirling in your body, and when I can show it to you, then it's like, oh my goodness, you're right, I didn't realize. Or a lot of the feedback is stuff like that, like how did that happen, how did that show up. And there are times even in tree readings when people were gonna draw a deer but they didn't know how to, or stuff like that comes up, and I can feel that energy too, like, oh, isn't it interesting that deer energy is very nurturing, and that's kind of some of the things that are coming up for you. So
yeah,
it doesn't really matter how you draw, you're right.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so important. You and I read together sometimes outside of a crystal store. And when we're doing that, I always, when someone walks up and goes, "Oh, well, I can't draw." And both of us are like, "No, no, no, you don't have to. You don't have to be able to draw."
It's
And I think
literally the energy of what you're putting on the paper.
yeah, and I think what's so cool about what you have created here is one, I've never heard of anyone else doing it. It's such a one of a kind thing. But two, like people don't seem to realize that you can do it over and over and over again and you'll get different energies out of it because it's not necessarily about the tree itself, it's about what is coming through that picture, right?
Yes, that's a beautiful way of saying it. Yeah, I have had people come back and they'll remember to draw the roots or whatever we talked about last time, which I think is really cute. But it really is like in that moment, it's kind of what's just coming through there then and there. And I've had all kinds of trees. I've had, people, I had one person come up to me in a restaurant and just draw one on a napkin real quick, and I've had people spend hours on it creating these beautiful trees that the Keebler elves would be jealous of, just lots of detail. And so it's really just kind of the energy that you do put there. Like if you're in that space right now and you're just like, well, I don't, a lot of people, I don't know what to draw. I don't know what to draw. It's like, it's okay. Just everyone can draw a tree.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I have been blessed enough to be on the outskirts of enough of your messages for folks that I can't recommend you enough. So definitely everybody check out Lisa's information that we'll put in the write-up for this. But let's talk about your books because Lisa is quite the author. So tell us a little bit about what you write and how you write and what's coming up.
Well, I'm an English teacher by trade, so I met someone that asked me to write a meditation for one of her collaboration books, and that's how it started. And it was a just kind of a fun journey, and then seeing it, that was an international bestseller, and it was just a lot of excitement around it, and I kind of got the nip there. And then the next collaboration I did was is a trilogy of Wild Woman books. So there's different themes of each book. And contributing to that, we have a new one coming out this fall equinox on September 22nd. It's the third book of the trilogy, which is the Wild Woman's Book of Alchemy. And so being in collaborations kind of got me the knowledge of how it works, how you start, and I'd always been kind of thinking about how all of the experiences that I've had and different teachers and mentors that I've had, and how it's really helped me realize that life isn't just, coming at me and I don't know what to do with it, like getting different tools, getting different perspectives. And I just got really curious about different classes that I could take. And oh my gosh, I've never heard of that. I want to try that. And it just opened up such a huge world. And I've been tinkering with this book. My latest, the one that I did that was an individual effort, is called Take Flight. And that one, um, that was 10 years in the making. I just was going through so many different things, and that came together, and it just like the magic of reframing your life experiences and how you can, the different tools that I learned. And, maybe this is something that would be helpful for you. And I had such an amazing journey through it just on my own journey. And I realized it took that many years because I wasn't quite at the spot where I am now. So as I was growing through it, I was writing about it, and then it kind of became like a guide to like how I did it and how you can do it too. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
You know, my favorite thing about Take Flight in the book, there's a metaphor, I think metaphor is the right word for it, for creating this kite and the pieces of the kite and how it helped you on your journey as you were finding yourself, for lack of a better term.
exactly.
And what was so beautiful about it was your vulnerability. I mean, you share a lot of really personal and lovely stories, and you did it in such a way that it allows the reader to really feel what I think you were feeling in those moments. So I just want to give you a claim for that, first of all.
Thank you. Yeah.
How is it when you are sharing something so personal about your stories and what you've gone through? What is that like to put that out on paper and then send it out to the whole wide world?
That is actually a lot of just really tuning into me, trusting that it's, I had a lot of self-doubt, and then there was the fear of being seen and people are going to know what I was, going through, and sort of learning how to let some of that go, because I've found that some of my most powerful mentors are the ones that share their story, and that's the powerful way of connecting. And that's how it becomes, oh my goodness, I maybe didn't have that exact experience, but I certainly have felt that before. I felt like I couldn't use my voice, or I felt, really vulnerable, or whatever it is. And I think that that's the beauty of it, even though that was the hardest part for me to share, because I kind of have grown up at being a very private person. We kind of just, whatever's said stays at the dinner table kind of mentality, and letting, everyone know my feelings. But I found that that's the best way to be honest. I mean, that's an authentic journey that I've been on. And I've talked to a lot of women and people that have had similar experiences. We've all had those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, if one more thing comes at me, like, how am I going to catch it? I have so much stuff going on. And when I started to learn tools on how to, you know, because every experience has a place in your life, right? You're learning every day, and they contribute to your development, or your learning, or and when I was really tuning into how much people have impacted me, or some of the animals in the book even were a big part of me finding myself and recognizing that I'm not alone. I don't have to sit here and try to figure it out. There are tools, there are people that are, there are mentors, and I just have the move to Colorado was a big life changer. And that's kind of where the kite came in. It was like, once I stopped trying to control and try to field everything coming at me and just recognize, you know what, when it comes, just deal with it then. Don't try to
Right.
and stop trying to control it. Let the kite just flow. Like it's okay. You're guided. You have beautiful people. You have, a whole resources of the angelic realm and all the, the wonderful things that can help you kind of recalibrate. And
Yeah.
writing the book was my way of kind of getting it out. I didn't necessarily think I was going to be a book, but then I felt really, really pulled to share it because there are so many commonalities and so many things that I thought I had to figure out. And it's actually just a common experience, even though it felt so personal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think, we find that in Awkwardly Zen often in our Zen Zooms that when we are sharing from the heart, when we're sharing the realness of who we are, it gives other people permission to do the same. And I think that that is such a powerful gift to put out into the universe, but it's scary. It's scary to do that sometimes.
Yes, it was definitely a journey.
I'm sure, I'm sure. So speaking of Awkwardly Zen, you I think kind of got pulled in with me because I immediately felt so drawn to you and we had some lovely interactions. So as you have found the community of Awkwardly Zen and started realizing that, what are some of the things that you've enjoyed about being a part of a community like that?
I love Awkwardly Zen. I love the guidelines, even though I kind of giggle at them when you read them. But I think creating a safe space is the most important, beautiful thing you can do for someone, especially because not everyone's in the same place on their journey.
Yeah.
And some people come in really vulnerable and really raw, and it's okay. Like we see you, we hear you, we get it. I've been there, or I've some kind of commonality and connection. And I
Yeah.
think those connections are so valuable, especially when you are on a journey and you think that you're the only one that thinks this or feels this, and there's a camaraderie, like an instant connection. Or I've met so many amazing people that have such varied beliefs,
Yeah.
varied ways of expressing themselves, just beautiful ways that they try to give and care for other people, or even learning how to accept it too, like to receive. That was a big lesson for me.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
having that connection, it made it easier to just give and receive. And that's why Awkwardly Zen is just a vast people, just all walks of life, don't you think? Like beliefs, everything. And it's just magical when you get in there. It's like, I never thought of that way before, or oh my gosh, I've never heard of that. And then I'm Googling down some rabbit hole for the next half hour,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what I love about it, I love so much about what you just said there, but what I love about it is what popped into my head is Woo Woo Wednesday. So we have a Wednesday night in-person gathering in the Denver area. And Lisa, you've been a part of that since the very beginning. It's moved locations a couple of times and adapted and adjusted. But it has been so fun, even in that in-person setting, not just the online setting, to meet people where they are, like you said, and to see how people have grown and adapted and stepped into their own gifts and adjusted and the energy of that is just so fun. And
Such a
I do.
beautiful community.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And I think that you and the other practitioners are such a big part of that, right? Because you come in and I think people want to sometimes put you on a pedestal and say, "Oh, Lisa does these readings and she has all of this." And then they get to know you as this lovely human being. And I think that that's really beautiful.
I think it is fun when there's a playful side to, a lot of the readers and the people, people just are in a different spot. And sometimes it's fun just to be seen and be where you are and be, your authentic self. And I think everyone shows up authentically, just being them,
Yeah.
realizing that it's going to be, it's just going to be fun. Let's just go and have fun. Let's not worry about anything, right? Like
Yeah.
it's so open. I've had so many fascinating conversations with I would have never had 10 years ago, living in North Dakota. I mean, it's just been
Well, and I think that's part of it, right? Is the openness to it. I had someone I was talking to just this morning. We had a Zoom coffee, and she was a Woo Woo Wednesday person from the start too. And she said, I can't wait to really embrace my weird. And I said, what do you mean? And she's like, well, like you'll be sitting there and you'll go, hold on, let me tap in, and then you're gone for a second, and then you come back, and she goes, it's just so weird, and I want to do that. And I was like, no one's stopping you.
right.
Come over to the weird side. But I think that's what we create as a community is this lovely safe space to be weird, to be odd, to explore openly and to talk openly, which is really, really a lovely thing.
It's been fun to see people, all of us have grown a little bit too. Like we've all just the knowledge from each other in the community. And
Yeah,
then some people have taken it to the next level and are doing new things that's exciting. And some people have, new people are always coming in, and
yeah,
it's just a kind of a constant like revolving door of just everyone just showing up authentically. Like
yeah.
it's really beautiful. I love it. Like I was in a different place 5 years ago than I am now, and
And
a
here
lot
we
of the support or even the giving or just camaraderie and friendship, like those are just important things when you get like-minded people together, then it
Yeah.
doesn't seem weird, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that so much. Now, you mentioned that you were from North Dakota, and I know because I know enough about you that some of your background was a little bit different. So, what has been the biggest adjustment as you have stepped out of um, being a school teacher in North Dakota into still being a school teacher, but adapting into more of this metaphysical world? What are some of the biggest things that have shifted for you?
There's been so many. I think the biggest shift is just being okay being me, and not being afraid to have people know that I'm a medium, or I can get messages, or I mean, that's a lot to put out for people, but I think just the biggest thing has been just learning how to authentically be me
Mm,
and be okay with it, not trying to hide, well, I can't tell these people that because that might be an uncomfortable conversation, or not. I don't want necessarily the students to know this, or those kind of stories. I just had to kind of own it all and just scoop it all in and just say, you know what, this is it. And I think moving away from North Dakota to Colorado was kind of a restart for me because no one knew me. No one knew, had any history with me. It was everybody's new, and just showing up, not being afraid of what they might think or how I should be acting or what I should be saying.
yeah.
And then I think that's been the biggest piece, just because that made it easier to keep exploring new avenues of who I am and what I can do, and how, I've always wanted to be helpful to people, and this is just a different way of, or even educating, like teaching people, what I know. I'm not going to have you write an essay on it, but I mean, just being able to share what I know, and having them share what they know, and then I know that much more. I mean, it's been like that exchange, just being okay being seen, and this is who I am, like kind of settling into my skin a little more.
I love that. I love that. Now, one of the other things that you do is you often do these classes or workshops with I don't want to say craft because that sounds so trite, and it's not. It's like creating these beautiful things within a spiritual message. And you call that artistry, right?
I do call it, yes, because it comes from your heart. And I think when people get out of their head, like, I can't draw, I can't do this, I don't know how to, and just kind of get into your heart and just let it happen, that's artistry.
I love that. And one of the things that I really enjoyed, I had a private party at my house, and I had you come in and you led us through creating wreaths and kind of that idea of full circle and wrapping up the year and what do we want for the next year and doing all of that around Christmas. And I still get like my neighbor came to that, and she was talking to me just the other day about it. So I still get people who are talking about that event. And what's beautiful about it is it's like we got together and we had this social gathering and it was just a lovely way to get together, but it was also this idea of stop and dig in a little bit more and you can learn so much more about yourself and about what you want in those, which is really cool. So what is your favorite workshop that you run with Hardistry?
Ooh,
I,
well, I do love those art shops, and the theme changes every month. So if, for summer solstice, when it's the light, the longest day of the year, we focus on being the light, and then created the sun catchers. So that's your reminder when that light comes through that you're, working on that. So I think that was one of my favorites. One of my favorites also is the bracelet at the beginning of the year where we tap in our word for the year.
yeah,
And all the workshops have a little journaling piece, a little like a meditation just to kind of get us centered, and then the theme. So the word of the year, I love this year's word of the year is joy. So I was trying to focus on a little joy and playfulness. And it's always funny when I have it on and I just kind of glance at it like, oh yeah, try to find the joy in this, try to, get back into that playful piece, whatever the word is. And I've had people come up like, I still have my bracelet, and I think that those are fun because it's setting a tone for the year that kind of sort of reconnects you. Sometimes when I used to make resolutions and never remember what I said. But
yeah,
when I'm setting intentions and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to get back in that energy. Like this year, I really want to have some fun. I want to have some, and then I remind myself, I think those are the fun ones that I think all the art you can have, it's like, simple things. You can string beads on a string,
right,
right?
yeah.
But what
That's
what you make of it, and everyone does something different too, even though it's a wreath, was completely different. That's the magic where everyone's just kind of doing it for them.
Yeah, and everybody kind of works off of each other too, right? Where someone goes,
Mhm.
"Ooh, I see what you're doing there, and I like it, so I'm gonna help
Yes.
myself to that
Do you
over
have
here."
any more of those? I get that. Do you have any more red
Yeah,
roses? Whatever it
yeah,
is.
which is
Yeah.
so fun. And absolutely. And what was so cool about it is because we were doing it at my house, so I pulled in some of my
Fun.
crystals and things like that.
Mhm.
And to be able to do that, so I would highly suggest you guys get a hold of Lisa and book a private party. Have fun, bring all your friends in, do that, especially in the Denver area. And I know we're still working on locations for the next set of these, but it's coming. I
Yes.
can feel it.
I've done group readings too, like tree readings for bridal parties, and those are so much fun. Like everyone, like, I didn't know that about you, or they're giggling, and so
Yeah.
I like to do groups too, because
Yes,
it's kind of
absolutely. It's such a
yeah.
such a fun environment. I love doing groups as well. I think it's so enjoyable for sure. So, Lisa, as we wrap this up, what did we forget? What's the thing that we need to make sure everybody knows about you?
Oh my.
I know we went over a lot.
Yeah, and I'm always creating new things, so I guess you just have to stay tuned for some things I have in the on the burner there, but I think we covered it.
I
I
think
don't
we did
know.
too. Where can people find you?
You can find me at lisa@lisaeleni.com, which is where you can find my books, my workshops, things about me. I'm on Facebook at Lisa Eleni, Eleni.
Yes.
And then I also just started a Instagram. So we're gonna start playing with that, but that's Lisa Eleni1 on
Fun.
Instagram. So
Cool. Well, and we'll put that all in the write-up, which is so
and at
great.
AZ,
And
right?
you can find her on the Awkwardly Zen page, partners page for sure. So, and Lisa is in the Denver area with me, and so you often will see her at the different pop-up events that we have here. For those of you who are in the Denver greater area, greater Denver area, whatever, you got it. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for being here with me today, and also being such an amazing part of Awkwardly Zen and such a valued partner. Your spirit and your heart definitely goes far with all of us here, especially in the Denver area that get to hang out with you. But Lisa also has done lots of events on Awkwardly Zen, so watch for those because she pops up periodically and helps us guide our spirits a little bit more. So thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thank you.